What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall market. I'm also going to break down why NIO absolutely exploded today as we saw some bullish news come out. Not to mention some more details about the broader markets. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15. And the offer ends very soon, in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, NIO broke through the 200 EMA at this 4.96 area. We are starting to dip right here, so we're looking at the support very close to about 5.15. And if that fails us, we're going to be looking for a move back down to about 4.96. So I still believe that we're doing a good job at holding up after getting this breakup, but the question is, can we hold above 4.96 to 5 at the very least? And if we do, that could be a sign of this thing potentially to breaking out even more. But the question is, why did NIO break out like this, and what's happening with the news? So there is some big news that came out involving Chinese economic policy. There's been a lot of talk about how in China they're saying that they're going to be embracing a moderately loose monetary policy and take more proactive approaches to fiscal stimulus before we see Trump come back into power. So that's very important. With that news coming out and then being a lot more moderately loose, I think that is what is greatly benefiting a lot of these Chinese companies. And that's why we saw a lot of Chinese stocks surge, such as Alibaba and Xpeng, and also NIO followed the trend. Also, NIO's deliveries look very promising. We're hoping we get a very strong report for the month of December. So we'll see how that goes. We had 122 million in volume. That's well above average. And short volume is continuing to drop. That's a good sign. Also, despite the fact that we are up, I didn't really see any new analyst ratings. Goldman Sachs maintained their sell rating. The price-price ratio is going up just a bit, so we'll have to see how that goes. And besides that, there's not anything else that's too significant that's coming out. The market was more red today. We saw stocks like Nvda sell off. Big tech was flat for the most part. However, Aapl was in the green. This outperformed the market, whereas the rest of the stocks out there were basically red. Tomorrow, there's minor data coming out in the morning, just a couple of labor numbers, and everything else is going to be very minor. So I'm not really expecting too much. Also know this, going into Tuesday, we just have AutoZone announcing earnings, then GameStop, but besides that, there's not much else. Today, we just had Oracle announce their earnings, and they ended up dipping because of what they announced. So they missed on the top and bottom lines of the last quarter. They missed on EPS with $1.47, and their revenue is at $14.06 billion, a little bit below expectations. Overall, they did see soaring demand, at least when it comes to their AI projects. And moving forward, when it comes to what they're looking for, they did raise their fiscal guidance. However, because they missed on earnings and because guidance was it was pretty good, it wasn't really enough to offset the downside move, and that's why the share price is still down. That's it for my analysis of the news. So NIO is looking more bullish here. As long as we hold above 5, we could continue to push. I do anticipate a small dip to about 5.15 before it attempts to bounce. Look for a dip to 5.15 to 5, and then it should bounce off that and continue to push. As long as that holds, we're going to be going even higher than this. We look pretty good on the daily, so I do anticipate more upside. Look for a small dip to the bounce, and we could be on our way back up to about that 5.5 area to fill this gap up above. So look for more upside on NIO. We look a little bit more bullish right now. There might be a small dip at first, but then there is more upside potential. That's despite the fact that SPY and many other tickers are looking a little bit more bearish right here. SPY did get this rejection, forming a double top-like structure. We need to try to reclaim 605. Otherwise, this is at risk of dipping to about 602. So watch 604 support. If it doesn't hold, I think we see 602. We'll see if we bounce off that or not. So keep that in mind. ES is looking more bearish. We need to hold above 60.63. Otherwise, we're at risk of dipping closer to about 60.50. For other stocks like Nvda, we're dipping right here. We're looking for support at 137. We'll have to see if that holds to a bounce or not. I think we might retest 137 tomorrow and kind of consolidate here before it attempts to bounce later on. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin is trying to retest 98,000. We'll have to see if we reject off that or not. Look for a push for 98,422, and we'll see if we reject. Tesla dips quite a bit after seeing a test of 400. Then we started to bounce. So we're holding support very nicely at this 380 area. Look and see an attempt to push up closer to about 395, but just know the resistance is kind of tough. So if we push up and make a lower high, if we can't break this high up here, it's possible we push up and then turn back down. We just continue to trade in a range between 380 and 400. That's most likely what Tesla's going to do. So look for a push a little bit higher for the mid 390s. And if we can't surpass the 400 mark again, we might be coming back down to 385 to continue to consolidate. That's all I'm seeing for Tesla for now. NQ looks more bearish. We came down to this imbalance. We need to hold 21,400. Otherwise, 21,362 could be coming. QQQ is going to be testing 521. If that fails, let's look for 520 and 517 as our supports. There's a good chance this does dip a little bit lower. Apple is more bullish, looking after bullish news came out. We were looking for 248 and then 250 is our targets. We're looking like we're going to outperform the market, so it's doing quite well. The IWM, on the other hand, is looking more bearish. We have this nice looking channel, which could lead to a little pop and a dip lower to about that 236 area. So keep that in mind. We had coin pump and then reject. We have to get back above 322. So look for a test of 322 tomorrow before it comes back down to 312. So look for a pop and then a drop. Amazon's turning on the 4-hour. We could be looking for a test of 225 tomorrow. If that fails, this 223.5 is likely coming. Meta saw a pump and a dip. We're now at this support right here at 609. We might attempt to rebound tomorrow morning for 618 before it comes back down to 609. We'll have to see what happens after that. Microsoft is also dipping off this divergence, so we could be dipping closer to about this 442 area, and we'll see what happens from there. And then Google looks more bullish. We could be looking for an attempt to get back up to 180. So far, it's doing a good job. That's my super lightning fast quick analysis for the day. So NIO looks very bullish, might dip to about 5.15 before it tries to bounce. But overall, there is a possibility of us getting up to this gap fill for that 5.5 area. So I think we're looking very, very strong. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow, and peace out.